Based on the history of the tanks we have in the Blitz and I reviewed them, we are going to learn a new pattern. Germans do not tend to finish joint projects. I'm Neil and this is my review of AMX-30 first prototype, aka Premiere. What I meant by Germans not finishing joint projects? Well, when I reviewed Kampf 70, we learned that US and Germany separated the development and each country finished the tank in their own way. So, in October 27th of 1956, France and Germany signed agreement about collaboration in building a tank of European nature. The tank was called Europapanzer to emphasize the Europe aspect of the development. It went all well, even during conference in Bonn in 1957 when they agreed on specifications. They agreed the army is not that important and it is easy to overcome with a new ammunition. And ability is the true aspect of the tank which grants good survivability. And from this moment the separation slowly started. In November of the same year, they already signed another agreement allowing both nations to develop two prototypes of their own and then meet up and compare and take the best of it. But then Charles de Gaulle was put to the power in France and decided to not follow Paris Treaty and didn't allow Germany and Italy access the atomic bomb. Such step made a hard dent in the always challenged relationship of France and Germany. And at this point no one actually really wanted to continue with collaboration. And yet both nations continued on development. In July 1963 the Germany Defense Committee decided to fully develop purely national tank and France just copied such decision. And even though these decisions were made, they still met in October 1963, but I would consider it only really a formality at this point. Both nations brought not 2 but 5 prototypes, and they were very soon brought also with their own excuses to back from the project. French came with decision of not going to order any tank until 1965, and Germany just refused to use French 105mm cannon and they picked the British L7. On this event, the French tank got designation AMX-30, and it is also the moment when AMX-30 Premiere appeared as one of the 5 tanks on the event. After this moment, the joint development was over and AMX was referenced just as AMX-30 and when it was finished as AMX-30B. So history is over now, as AMX-30 will get the rest of its story when it will come to a Blitz, because we've seen it already being tested, we've seen it in battles, some did kill us, some we did kill. So, moving on to World of Tanks Blitz. This is one of the few tier 9 medium tanks and it very closely resembles Leopard PTA. But this is kind of obvious as they both tanks are or were developed under the same specifications. So differences are small, you can almost, and I repeat, almost recreate one from each other's using equipment. But let's go step by step, because as I plan to speak about equipment as well, as these tanks made me rethink and reconfigure vast majority of items I didn't change for many tanks. So, gun first. DPM, penetration, alpha damage, shell velocity. Those 4 are the ones which are lagging behind PTA a bit. Comparing to others, it is rather average gun and it is basically same gun on Bad Chatillon with just not an autoloader. Weapon handling is average as well, but there is something really to think about, because you might really feel PTA is more precise on long shots, and it is. 0.307 dispersion is just better than AMX's 0.345, but you can use refined gun and the difference will be negligible, because in PTA you are probably more likely to use vertical stabilizers anyway. Sure, you might miss vertical stabilizers on AMX, but that's really up to your playstyle. And while I tend to play aggressively, I really feel AMX needs refined gun more than any other tank. On the other hand, AMX's aim time is by 9% better than on PTA's, so if you want to recreate AMX feel of aim, go and switch it to a gun laying drive on PTA. In this case though, I'm still using a gun laying drive on AMX to enhance the ability to shoot more precisely more often. I really feel this tank desperately needs to be able to shoot from a good distance. Comparing to gun handling to others, it is still a rather average gun. One important thing to notice is the penetration of premium ammo. 232mm on standard AP is not much, but 263mm on APCR is just 8 more than penetration standard APCR shell on PTA have, and it is the worst penetrating premium shell of all mediums. So we covered the bad stuff, the interchangeable stuff, but not really the good stuff about the gun. The gun depression of 10 degrees gives this tank huge variability, and it is the best in class. Where PTA have to relocate to find better angle or better reach, this thing can just peek out and take a shot. And that's because PTA have 4 degrees worse gun depression than this lovely AMX. So, the gun is not really for sniper shots, but is very usable basically in any conditions, and with good choice of equipment it is a very good one. For equipment point of view, the refined gun feels like the right choice, and whether to pick a gun laying drive or supercharge is up to you, but I don't feel we really need a supercharge in Blitz, especially in the moment when you are used to pre-aiming, and I really value faster aiming a lot more. Moving on to mobility, here PTA and AMX really compete neck on neck. PTA have higher top speed but lower power to weight ratio, as AMX is the lightest medium in a tier. This also means you should avoid ramming, unless you see light tanks, and even Batchet is not significantly lighter, so maybe ramming is not a go. So it sounds like a PTA is faster on straight line and AMX in acceleration, but it's not. PTA have lower ground resistances and therefore it keeps its top speed king of tier 9, but I feel AMX retains its speed much better than PTA. AMXs have also the highest traverse speed in a tier, and thanks to this feature it circles enemy heavies and TDs with ease. And this is the second place. PTA and AMX can be kind of interchangeable with the right equipment, almost as usual. If you want to feel PTA speed, go for engine accelerator, as I feel traverse is good enough. And if you have PTA and want to traverse almost as AMX, go for improved controls. For the best AMX mobility though, pick engine accelerator for sure. So if I would sum up the mobility, I would say it is kind of the fastest medium, but it's still neck on neck. Its top speed is not the best one, it's the second best one, but its capability to retain speed and ability to turn makes it really fast tanks. This really reminds me the RU251 compared to M41 Black Dog. There is always RU, which is straight line fast, and there is a Black Dog which turns fast. Then the last aspect of the AMX and PTA, which they do not well, is armor. Armor is pretty bad on both, bit worse on PTA, but it doesn't really matter, it is still bad on both. AMX turret have actually 150mm, but you have to be blind not to go through, and AMX be rather lucky. Just don't shoot mantlet, but shooting mantlet is bad practice all the time apart some exceptions. So, don't get hit. And now the most annoying thing about AMX. Worse than on PTA or any other tank. This tank is the first ever tank which made me to change provisions. For vast majority of tanks, I always used 10 and 3% food and 10% fuel. Some heavies get protective kit. And that's exactly what this tank got. I gave up 3% food in favor of protective kit. And why? For some reason, crew tend to die so fast, it really hurts your game. This is also the first tank I gave up small repair kit in favor of first aid one, because you are more likely to revive the driver than fix the tracks. And to improve survivability of the crew, I also switched from improved modules to defense system. So this is also the first thing which made me to use enhanced tracks to not get tracked so easily, so I don't have my beloved repair kit. So all in all, this is very interesting machine, and it is definitely not made for new players or players who just want to simply enjoy the game. This one makes you think, move ahead, be strategist, cap bases, move around the place and be ready to run and find better situations. Better situations to shoot, to know when to keep distance or when to get personal and circle to death. If you are willing to put effort into the tank, if you are willing to put everything you have and know into it, it will reward you greatly. If not, you will suffer and suffer really badly. So do I like it? Well, I love it, more than PTA. Do I recommend it you to get it for average or below average player? No, not at all. For a good player which enjoy the fast and fragile tanks, this might be the one. I mean the one. And that's it. Thank you very much for watching. If you think this video is trash, give it a dislike. If you think it's good, give it a like and subscribe to my channel so you will not miss a new one. I'll see you in next video, and in the meantime I wish you loads of great games, ammo boxes and engine fires. Obviously not yours, theirs. See you guys.